Welcome
Welcome
to
to Modern
Modern
Romance.
Memes.
Let's talk about jerking off and fucking and coming and shitting and pissing.
Daddy.
I want
And
you guys to know that he does that every 3 hours. Every 3 hours, his body goes into that position and he has to make that noise or he'll die. It's a condition that he's had since he was 7 years old.
yeah. So let's talk about coming because which basically I think a lot of people did during a certain time when
Yeah.
the world shut off. So today this is our little kind of 5 years later type of video of retrospective of COVID-19.
Yeah.
So COVID-19 happened now 5 years ago. Can you believe it?
I can believe it.
Yeah,
I
it's been.
remember it like it was yesterday. There was a fucking. I remember it was really funny when COVID-19 happened. I worked at a movie theater, right? And I had this really liberal boss. She was a very liberal woman, very attractive too. But
I,
she fucking said, she said, at first, it's just like getting the flu. Not very many people are going to be affected by it. It's not a big deal because that's what the liberal media was saying. Then a week later, she comes in and it's like the fucking Black Plague just hit Europe again, man. She fucking comes in and it's like everybody needs a mask. We are disinfecting every goddamn seat between showings. We are doing fucking all of this shit. Like, it was the craziest thing. I had never seen someone flip on a dime like that so goddamn fast about any subject. My mind was just blown at the time. I didn't know what to take of the COVID thing, right? So I was a dummy and I got COVID vaxxed because at the time I believed that was the right idea. However, now I kind of look back on it retrospectively. I see how poorly it was tested. I see about how, like, there's a lot of these things out there that are just public knowledge that you can look into that the way that the government handled it, the way that the media handled it was very wrong. It was really destructive. If you looked at the USA, the death rate was worse than literally any other country in the world. And why is that? Well, because of some shady shit that was happening. I don't really want to get too much into the specifics because I don't want to be killed. But the COVID-19 pandemic had a lot of shady shit going on around it, and I definitely think the lockdowns were a negative. I think that that was bad for our country. It's fucked every economy on the fucking planet that they all did those fucking lockdowns. They've all fucked themselves completely. They took people's fucking genuine like rights away in fucking, and they're always like, no, we didn't take your right away. But it's like, okay, you're gonna fucking make me wear something at work if I don't take a vaccine? Like, what the hell is that? Like, fucking, it's complete and total utter bullshit. The same people that bitch and piss and moan about bodily autonomy all fucking day were all about fucking making people get vaccinated, making people wear the fucking masks, and making people fucking fit this fucking like thing. And it was just bullshit, man. The COVID-19 pandemic, all it did was fucking rape society. And there's fucking nothing good that came out of it. I mean, like, fucking, and also, I'm not gonna lie to you, I do believe it was probably made in a lab. Like, not gonna lie, like, it seems like it might have been some kind of bio weapon. And I'm not sure if it was like, oh, they meant to like fucking kill people. They might have just been testing it in a lab, and some fucking dumbass opened up the COVID jar and it just got out, and then they fucking took the first opportunity to fucking jump onto that for their own political means. I really don't know exactly how it happened, if it was a nefarious purpose or if it was an accident, or if some guy was fucking a dead monkey in fucking in Africa and then came back over to the US and coughed on somebody and it started the pan. Like, I don't fucking know, but regardless, I know that the way they handled it was piss poor and it fucked everything up for everybody. And it was just a bad time. However, during the COVID-19 pandemic, I did get to watch a film or a TV series called The Wire. It was very good. And Bob Dylan recorded a record called Shadow Kingdom that he released during the COVID-19 pandemic, which was also very good. So, I mean, I gotta say, I did have some fun times during the pandemic. I had friends, I had a whole lot of stuff. I joined a lot of wrestling chat calls. I joined a lot of fucking bitch chat calls. The COVID pandemic was a pretty insane time. It was and I saw a lot of people, man. This was wild. fucking, you got the people over here who are pro like lockdown, and then you got the people over here who are anti lockdown. And these people just could not for the life of them talk to each other or get along. I saw full on fucking screaming matches and friendships ending over it. It was fucking ridiculous. Like, regardless of whatever side you're on, like, that's just stupid. Because the average person had no bearing on what was happening. You didn't have any control over that. So to fight people about it is fucking retarded. Uh, but the but the COVID-19 shit, yeah, very poorly handled. It was all a really bad thing that happened to us, and I don't know where to go from there other than like I'm glad it's over, and I think that it's made people kind of desensitized to them doing that again. Like the fact that they even did that, right? Kind of just shows it's like, man, when an actual pandemic or something actually happens that fucking comes in and like fucks people up, people aren't even going to believe that it's a big deal if the government tries to do another lockdown, because it was like, hey, you remember when they did the lockdown over absolutely fucking nothing? Why should we listen this time when there's a fucking actual thing going on? Like, it's just completely fucking nonsense. And yeah, man, fuck COVID, obviously. I don't like people getting sick. People getting sick is bad, but, fuck the way that they handled it as well. It was just, I don't know. It was all fucking nonsense. And I don't know. It was just dumb. Fucking government control bullshit. But what can you do? They always have a new game to play to get government control. They did the fucking Patriot Act in the fucking 2000s. They do all these false flags to go to war like in Vietnam. They always have some fucking way to control the people. Uh why'd you put me backstage? What's happening?
Okay, so sorry about that. I don't know if you noticed, but StreamYard has like this new type of settings for like how you set up shows. So
Okay.
I was just kind of testing that out for a little bit. Sorry about that. Okay, continue.
No, you're good. I really didn't have a whole lot more to say. I was kind of just rambling and repeating myself there at the end because I'm a little stoned right now. But
I mean,
I
I
don't.
enjoy it.
Well, yeah, that's all I really had to say about COVID. I mean, as far as affecting my dating life, it didn't really affect my dating life at all because back then I was overweight and fucking half a retard. So it wasn't like I was fucking going out with anybody anyway. So it just gave me a couple of more years of pensive thought and realizing my lot in life.
Do you think like it gave you like that isolation where like it kind of like prevented you from like obviously like meeting people, and it was like more about like you can say
Not
like
really. I still kind of like, I don't know. I fucking talked to people online, and up to that point in my life, that was mostly what I had done anyway. So it wasn't like a whole big change. Like, I was just talking to my online friends a lot more. And at that point in my life as well, I had just moved to a new city. So it wasn't like I knew anybody then, where it was like, oh no, I'm not going to be able to see so and so because, it was like, I'm new here. It's not really a big deal. But
Mhm.
yeah, eh, after COVID, things have been great.
Yeah,
I,
so talk about that. Like talk about how like life got better.
I mean, it definitely improved because there's not all these fucking regulations, man. Like, you don't have to have your COVID vaccine card on you at all times. You don't have to fucking wear a mask everywhere. That was the most annoying shit. Listen, I'm not going to be one of those guys that says it's unhealthy to breathe in your mask because you put your bacteria back inside you. I don't know the science of all that. I just know it pissed me off and annoyed me and was uncomfortable for me to have fucking something covering my face all goddamn day. Like, it was frustrating. And I realized at that point, it's like I could never be a fucking surgeon or a doctor because I'd just be pissed off at the shit on my fucking face all day. So, yeah, no, definitely not. I didn't like that. So, after that was all done and you could just go out and socialize and act like a human being again, that was nice. You just go out to the bar. You could go fucking do anything you wanted at that point. You didn't going to the movie theater. You didn't have to wear your mask throughout the whole movie. That was the most bullshit thing. They would make you wear your mask through the whole fucking movie, and if they caught you without it on, they'd tell you to leave or put it back on. Right? They'd be like, "Hey, put your mask back on." Like, fuck you. Like, what fucking right do you? I'm watching a movie and eating popcorn. Suck my dick. That was always the thing too, where it was like fucking like, well, if you're eating, it's fine, but if you're not eating, you gotta have the mask on. It's like, you're really gonna enforce that on people? Like, really? That's so fucking, I don't know. It's absurd. It's stupid. And that was something I wanted nothing to do with. So yeah, I mean, COVID was retarded. Things clearly got better for the average person, I think, after COVID ended. And it was just, they could live their fucking life again without worrying about the fucking threat of regulation around them or losing your fucking job because you didn't get a fucking vaccine.
Yeah.
That is the most unconstitutional, evil fucking bullshit I've ever heard in my goddamn life. Losing your job because you didn't get a fucking vaccine. What the fuck other situation have we ever had in our country that was ever comparable to that? Like,
Not
that's
just that.
fucking ridiculous.
Not just that. Like I remember when I was like still in college at that time, or at least like during like you couldn't even take a semester. You couldn't even like continue your semester without getting a fucking vaccine. And that's one of the reasons why, unfortunately, I was forced to get the fucking stupid vaccine, was because like they were forcing you literally to get a vaccine before like all they started in person classes.
That was
And
me too. It was just like, just to get the annoyance out of the way. That's why I got it. Was because it was like, I just want this shit to be over and I just want to fucking live my life like a human again. So I got the vaccine. Unfortunately, I should have fucking held strong, but I didn't. So
I mean, I wish but like unfortunately, like when you're in that situation, you kind of have to rise above it and have to face the music, and then you know, go along with what you have to do because we have to live, right?
right.
Um, it just sucks. Like again, again, you're being forced to do it, which it could affect your job, it could affect your chances of graduating, finishing college. Because I know, like again, if you remember back in the time that those times, it was apparently annoying for me, like not working while focusing on college. So again, like y'all would have probably been angry at me more if I didn't, because of the whole vaccine shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's literally one thing. So fuck you guys. You guys made me got the vaccine. I'm just kidding. Um, but yeah, that's I don't know. So one thing I want to ask though, like, is there something you learned during the pandemic time, and something that maybe like influenced you also to change, like what like you notice a difference of life since COVID, and
I
something
mean,
that
it
maybe
made me
like
trust the government a whole lot less. That's for damn sure. Fucking, I don't know what I learned from it other than people are gullible and they will follow whatever the fuck the head of the CDC says.
change of life. Also, I guess you already said like you don't trust the government or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, life is just, I mean, life was different before and after COVID. I mean, it was fucked up for people. I don't, um, my recommendation for people, if you want to know more about the COVID pandemic and everything behind it and all the shit that went on with that, if you're really interested in the COVID story, check out a book by our current health secretary, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He wrote a book called The Real Anthony Fauci, and it's a crazy fucking book. It's about that thick, and it goes through Fauci's entire life, his history with pandemics, the fucking COVID-19, the entire way it was set up, the way that he had been fucking planning to do this shit for years on end and jumped at the perfect opportunity to fucking do it. It was the craziest thing. It's like reading a fucking spy novel. Like, it was just wild, man. Fucking, so I would highly recommend checking out The Real Anthony Fauci by Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Fucking crazy shit. I like Bobby Kennedy. I'm a big fan of Bobby. I think that he's gonna do our country good with the health stuff, and that's about that for him.
Well, I absolutely appreciate your little compliment there, Emery Rowan. It's absolutely
Understand
fantastic.
me. I feel like I'm being molested.
I'm trying to do the
No,
voice.
yeah. He's got some kind of condition, some kind of illness. I don't know what it's called though. I forgot, but he's got some kind of issue with his throat, and he's had this disease for
Oh,
years.
this was a weird condition that I got from the disease there. But I really appreciate the compliment, Emery Rowan. It really means a lot. It warms the cockles of my cock, and I gotta tell you, Roman. I know you're an expert of cooking. Have you ever cooked with tallow fat? Because tallow fat is it's actually very good for you. Like your body needs it. Did you ever cook with tallow fat?
That hurt my skin. Ugh. I could feel my pores opening up at that. Like, ugh. Like my arm is just fucked.
Are you scared by his voice? Or you just
Yeah,
saying,
I'm scared by you doing his voice. You sound
oh,
like a gremlin, like you're gonna molest me. I don't like it at all.
um, what's your
It's
thoughts
like
on?
when Ben Shapiro does the Donald Trump voice. I'm just like, please, for the love of God, stop doing that. Like, just quit.
I don't even think I want to try a Ben Shapiro impression right now.
No, don't.
In fact, I don't care about your feelings. I don't know what you have to talk about, but let me tell you something, Andrew Bowman. Just yeah.
There you have it, guys. Brown Shapiro.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm gonna mention something stupid. Oh yeah. Like speaking of like when we did that retarded episode recently about like attractive girls, I forgot to mention Brett Cooper.
I mean, Brett Cooper is good looking.
Yeah, Brett Cooper.
I don't know what the fuck you want me to add to that.
Mm-hmm.
Really? You're just like, I forgot this chick was hot. Way to go, man.
I don't
There's
know.
a lot of fucking beautiful women in this world.
It is. Yeah. I don't know. I literally wrote down a list of the girls I did not mention, and I know I'm gonna.
You have a list of women you didn't mention last time? Are you fucking shitting me?
Yeah, I'm gonna annoy you.
You're raping my soul. My soul is being penetrated like it's a fucking prison
No,
whore.
don't worry, it's a short list. Nina Dobrov. She was like in the Vampire Diaries series, but she's like a famous chick. I will admit, Olivia Wilde is a hot chick, but she's a freaking massive libtard. Emmy Rossum, who was in the show Skinless, or no, Shameless.
Skinless. Skinless.
Yeah, I like your bitches skinless or fucking skinned on. I don't know.
No, I like them skinless so I can use their skin to make household items like lampshades and chair covers.
Yeah. Fuck. Man, I was gonna say something. I lost my train of thought. Minka Kelly, Vanessa Hudgens, the Seven Heaven Girls, Emma Watson, Jennifer Gardner, Topanga, who aka Daniel Official, Amanda Bynes before she lost her her sanity. I'm sure a lot of Disney Nickelodeon girls I did not mention. Oh yeah, Victoria Justice and Liz
There's
Gilly.
a lot of Disney Nickelodeon girls I didn't mention. Never say that again. Never say those words ever again. There's a lot of hot chicks on the Disney Channel that I didn't talk about.
Well, when I was
you're
younger,
playing a dangerous game, buddy. When you start talking about that.
When I was younger.
Yeah, when you were younger. Fuck me, kid.
And this chick who was on Instagram, who basically she does like these I don't know, she got viral for like making pizzas. She's known as the pizza girl, where she makes pizzas and looks hot doing it. Her name is Julia Malonati.
Classic.
Yeah. I don't know, but yeah, there's other chicks too.
There are a lot of women in this world.
Yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to annoy you with that. But yeah, anyways, going back to COVID, right? Go with talk. Now I guess anything else you want to say? No. Okay, so I'm gonna give you my thoughts on COVID-19. Obviously, COVID-19 was a terrible time. COVID-19, the pandemic that started literally around this week 5 years ago. For in case you didn't, so what I know about COVID, right? It started basically in a lab. A lot of people said it started based on bats. But I think it also kind of just goes to show that who the fuck eats bats and what kind of country that China is, where a lot of people eat bats, you know?
I mean, I could say that, right? But like, here's my argument to that. I've gone to a shitty Chinese restaurant or two in my life. I'm a Chinese food connoisseur. I love Chinese food. So, you go to one where you're at the drive-thru and it's kind of in a ghetto area. There's no doubt in my mind. I guess what I'm getting at is, there's no doubt in my mind that I've either eaten a dog or a cat before because I've gone to a shitty Chinese restaurant, because they give you that meat where it's like, what is this? It's like, not 100% sure, but it's good meat. Tastes good. But, it was probably a Chihuahua or something. And it's a damn shame, that a dog had to die for me to consume it. But, I don't know what else to add. I was vegan for a long time, so like I fucking think about that shit too, where it's like, yeah, I've got a personal attachment to dogs, so I don't want to eat them. I think it's, it's sad to eat a dog, but at the same time, it's kind of the same moral fucking area as eating a cow. Like fucking if I wanted to eat a dog, I mean, if you're in certain countries, that's fucking fine, So who the fuck am I to say? Some people eat snails, some people eat fucking like. My thing is, man, as long as you're not eating people, I really don't give a shit. As long as you're not eating people or shit or vomit, don't eat those three things and don't drink piss or cum, like big amounts of it.
And don't shove fucking feces up your butthole again.
Yeah, no. If you ever had the thought in your mind that you wanted to shit in your hand and shove it back up your ass so you could shit it out again, don't do that.
And that idea has it lives in my brain.
It's crazy. It's fucking crazy. That's a real thing that someone does. Like, that's wild. That's something that he does regularly. And that guy found a girlfriend, so you have nothing to fucking worry about. She knows that about him too, so you have nothing on earth to worry about.
Is this girl like hot or something even?
She's overweight, so to me, no. But
Okay.
there were a few different men that I knew in my life who I consider sane that did find her attractive, but they are also people who are not really, they don't really care about the whole weight thing as much, like, unless it's like too much. She's a chunky girl. She's not like fucking like, Dave Blunt's. She's not like obese like a planet. But, she's definitely got a few extra pounds on her. So like fucking, I don't know. Again, not really my vibe. I didn't think she was very attractive. However, fucking any person on earth is fucking attractive enough not to date that person. So that's my 2 cents on the matter. Doesn't really matter how attractive or unattractive you are. If you're dating him, you kind of lost the lottery at life.
Yeah. So yeah, I get okay. So yeah, that's that. I would never forget the idea that someone did that. Someone did that. Anyways,
I think about it a lot too. I was thinking about it the other day. It was fucking bad. I thought about that in church and I about started fucking dying laughing. And I was like, this is the worst place to be thinking about this motherfucker. Like, why would I ever? It was the devil playing tricks on me.
Yeah. But yeah, COVID happened 5 years ago. It messed up the fucking world. What I know from it and how it basically ruined the world. So it originally, like again, it started in China. They refused to stop the travels. Italy found out that they had cases of COVID, but they didn't do anything. So Italy, part of them is at fault actually because they didn't, reacted quickly. When I think Italy was like the second biggest country that like had the most cases up until when it started to be known that the COVID-19 issue was becoming so big where people in America were starting to get COVID-19 cases. So that's basically what happened. And yeah, it messed up the world. Schools had to switch. Schools, work, basically everything it had to switch to being us at home. And yeah, it was definitely people were so isolated to the point that people got cabin fever at a certain time when a certain person died. And they all went crazy and used that as an excuse, like get it. We're so angry, BLM. You think
Oh,
that?
you're talking about George Floyd?
Yeah, you think that was like just them being the whole cabin fever, like an excuse to just get out of the house?
I think a lot of riots and things like that are orchestrated. I'll be honest with you. As far as George Floyd goes, I don't know what the fuck to think of that. I have fucking so many conflicting opinions on it. Where it's like, on the one hand, he was saying I can't breathe before the officer ever had his knee on him, right? However, that's even further evidence to me that he probably shouldn't have been putting his knee on him like that. Here's my thing. I'm not going to argue to you that George Floyd is a good person. He was not a good person. He did horrible things to people. There was a story about him putting a gun to a pregnant woman's stomach while she had like her kid inside. Like he was a savage person. Like very much not like a great guy. However, police officers don't now have the right to kill people because they're not great guys. You know what I mean? They're police officers. They don't have. So if it was a self-defense situation, I would feel differently. Like if I actually felt, because there are some situations like that Michael Brown case where the kid was reaching for his gun and trying to kill him and he fucking shot him. And then there was riots over that. That was one where I was like, yeah, the cop was in the right because he was fucking being killed by this guy and he fucking, you know, he had to fucking fight for his life. Like that made sense. But this George Floyd one, it just felt like such a fucking, that's just one I just didn't feel like jumping on because it's like fucking, like, it's obvious that there was mishandling of him, like, regardless of if Derek Chauvin killed him or not. There was something more going on there. At least to me, when I saw the video and I fucking heard everything about it, man, fucking, I don't know. And also, I'm pretty sure that, like, the argument that I've heard is that he was trained to do that, but I also heard that they're only trained to do that if they're in a life or death situation. And when you've got this big guy he's already in your cop car saying, I can't breathe. And then you take him out and you fucking kneel on his neck. Like, just a bad move, man. Like, regardless of all of this, whatever my opinion on George Floyd is, they shouldn't have rioted. You don't fucking, and here's the thing. Whenever people riot, they do it retardedly. If you're trying to make a difference, dumbass, attack the people in power. Like, you're fucking breaking down mom and pop's pizza shop, you're a fucking asshole. Like, that's not fucking okay. Like, this is fucking regular everyday folks that are going to work and you're ruining their fucking day. You're ruining their lives. None of that is fine. Like, oh, they got insurance on their fucking bit. Like, one, the insurance might not cover everything. Two, you don't fucking know that. And three, fucking, that's not it's the principle of the thing. You don't burn people's shit, especially people who aren't fucking with you. If you're trying to start a revolution, fucking burning down Aunt Gertrude's fucking bookstore isn't going to do it. Like, it's fucking dumb as shit. Yeah. So there are, like, I would even argue that, like, I'm not even, like, against the idea of a riot altogether. Personally, I probably wouldn't participate. I don't want to hurt people. I don't really believe in hurting people. Not a big physical, like, I want to kill you type guy. However, if you're doing, like, a genuine political, like, I'm trying to get my movement off the ground. I mean, like, there was the French Revolution. That was a riot that started something. Like, fucking, there have been riots that started things in the past. You just have to be fucking smart about it. You know, again, like, destroying downtown in it.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was one of the big issues during the pandemic. We had to deal with that horse shit. Yeah, again. So other than the virus was happening, people who had low immune systems were sadly passing away. It was not just the elderly; it was also people who had good health, or not good. Well, let's just say they were at risk. Which is why, again, when you talk about how the whole lockdown thing, we should have, again, those people should have been one in quarantine, right? Those people, the people who are have low immune systems, don't shut down the country just because this virus is going to kill our elderly people. Again, then those are the people that should have been quarantined. Same thing with people who have immune compromise issues. Those people should have been quarantined, not the rest of the world, which kind of fucks up everything. That fucked up the economy, that fucked up this basically the way of living at the time. Basically, again, COVID-19 and the pandemic did change the world. It did. It changed the world, and then also didn't help that during that time you had the Black Lives Matter. Basically, again, the Black Lives Matter movement came back, and basically it came back harder, with a storm. It came back to ruin the country even more, ruin the world. I'm not saying I don't believe in Black Lives. Of course, Black Lives Matter.
Well, see, that's the thing with Black Lives Matter, right? Where it's like they get behind this statement that everybody on Earth agrees with if you're not a psychopath. Of course, Black Lives Matter. Like, yes, if you're a black person, your life matters. Like, obviously. However, you go to the Black Lives Matter official website and they say, we are a Marxist organization. I fucking despise Marxism. There's nothing good that comes out of Marxism. And they come in and they're like, we're Marxist. We believe Black Lives Matter. So if you say, I'm against Black Lives Matter, you know, people are like, oh, you think the black people should die? It's like, no, I'm against the fucking organization that says that you need Marxism to fix the fucking police force. As if that wouldn't just make it 10 times fucking worse. Like, it's just stupid.
Mm-hmm. I remember like one person. So this was during college. One of my first semesters in college. It was public speaking class, and one person actually, and he's black himself. He was doing a presentation about something that's similar to the KKK, and he was talking about like his views on the Black Lives Matter movement, and he mentioned how it could be similar to the KKK because of the whole communist Marxisms that happens behind it, and how people within the Black Lives Matter movement believe like they're like owed more than regular people, or just like and just basically in general, like it's like again it's a more divisive movement. Let's be honest here. But then
People donate to the Black Lives Matter movement, and then the leaders of the movement use their money that they donated to go on vacation and buy themselves nice homes.
yeah,
It's a fucking scam.
yeah. And it just doesn't help, like, everyone's like told, like, to spend, donate to this crap and whatever. And they just don't know. Like, they just don't know. So, but again, that happened. What I'm trying to tell them, like, yeah, the teacher got angry, said, that's not true. It's all about, having, like, helping Black lives, because they're so, like, they have to do a lot of shit, whatever. But again, it's like, are we in segregation times now? Are we still in segregation? No, we're not. Like, here's what I will say about Black Lives Matter, right? Or Black lives in general. I'm not denying that there's still like people who are Black dealing with some racist shit. I'm not denying that. But it doesn't mean that you're still in the times of the 1950s, the 40s, the 30s, basically times of slavery, or just in general where you have like less rights than Caucasian people. Okay? Like that's the problem with with people who believe Black Lives Matter, whatever. They think that they're like again dealing with still such racism where like they have no rights and all that kind of shit. And again, like they feel like it's like also like they have like a self entitlement mentality, like where they feel like they should be owed like reparations, and whites gotta like basically sorry for how we treated you and all that kind of shit.
Here's my thing, right? Black people have been treated like shit in our country throughout its entire history. I agree with that. Fucking in the 80s, the fucking government gave them fucking syphilis in their communities and got them addicted to crack and ruined their fucking families. They fucking burned down the Tulsa fucking shit during the Tulsa race riots, like the things that they owned, their banks and everything. Black Wall Street was just completely decimated because it was owned by black people. They were enslaved, they were segregated against, and they were treated like shit. And you know what the common denominator is in most of this? Government. You know what the answer isn't? More government. The answer is less government. Get the government out of black people's lives and that'll fucking help them thrive. The idea that fucking daddy government's gonna come in and give them money and fucking pat them on the head and treat them like fucking babies and make them dependent is fucking bullshit. These are fucking strong, independent, intelligent people that don't need the fucking government to fucking treat them like a child. Like, that's disgusting. Like, the idea that you're gonna fix their shit by putting the fucking government in their life is just retarded, because the government's never come in and fixed fucking anything for the most part. And I know fucking someone's gonna see this and comment and be like, well, what about when the government did this thing? But I'll bet you if I fucking research it for longer than 5 minutes, I can find a way they fucked that thing up too. Fucking 99.9% of the things they do is fucking bullshit. So that's my opinion on it. Again, I do feel bad for black people. I really do. And I understand they've been put through the ringer. Like, it's bullshit the way this country has treated that community. The answer is not to put more government in their lives. The answer is to take it out. And that's why I think things like Doge would be helpful, to cut programs and to cut all of these things that make people dependent on the government so they can be independent, go out, work for themselves, and make a fucking living on their own. Like, I
DEI
don't
also
like,
DEI,
yeah, the DEI
right?
shit. Like, that's fucking, like, how disgusting is that? Like, fucking, like, I understand at a point why that existed, because it was a big deal that companies would not hire black people and not hire brown people And yeah, that was wrong. And so the idea to put this in and be like, here you go, do this. Like, I understand. But I do think it's fucking retarded and kind of, again, infantilizing of the entire community to be like, you need our help with this instead of letting them go out and make it on their own in the society. Like, I again, just don't think that it's good for the government to fucking give people every single handout that they can. I don't think that that's right. I,
Speaking of, speaking of DEI, it's also like the beauty of like ending that is like where people, you know, you just don't. It's not just giving like a free hand, and not no longer giving a free hand. It's like again, you just don't get elected of being this sort of power or this sort of obligation, like these obligations of a leader or whatever, just because of your skin color, just because of your race, just because of your ethnicity, just because of your sexual orientation. You know, again, wasn't it like the one of the Department of Health leaders was trans? You know what I mean? A fat trans person.
yeah. Yeah, it was like a fat trans person. It made no sense.
Like, how does it make sense? And again, Biden elected his House Speaker, like one of his like speakers was like a black lesbian. Like, how is that supposed to be like just? And again, hiring her just because she's a black lesbian. You know what I mean? Like, and same thing with Kamala. Kamala was literally got into power or got into like being the Senate, right? All this type of shit just because she's half black, half Asian, and a woman.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know much about that. About that her being the reason she got into the Senate or whatever, because I haven't followed her political career very closely at all up to the point of the election. But I knew that she was Joe Biden's lady and that she was part of that whole administration and that team. And that team did everything they could in their power to fuck up my country. And I wanted nothing to do with them anymore. So I'm just glad she's gone. And listen, Donald Trump isn't the greatest man in the world, obviously. He's a very flawed person, very, say what you will about him, but I'm a big fan at this point. I'm happy with what he's doing. I'm very glad about a lot of things that he's talked about, a lot of things he's said that I really do get behind. He's the only fucking person too, the only fucking person in politics for the last I don't know fucking how long that has even floated the idea of abolishing income tax. That's the one fucking movement that I care the most about. If you wanted to get me behind a movement, no taxes ever. Fucking get rid of that idea. Taxation is theft. Taxation is unconstitutional. It's complete bullshit. I will continue to pay my taxes, however, because I do not want to get butt raped in prison. I'm a pretty boy. I'm a pretty guy. Don't want to be molested. However, yeah, fuck income tax. That's fucking ridiculous. I work for money and you get to take part of it just because you fucking feel like it. To give me roads, that's always the argument. We wouldn't have roads without income tax. How come the roads are fucking shit then? And they're always working on them, and there's always potholes, and my car's always scraping on them. If these income taxes are going to fucking fix these roads, they should be fucking fixed by now, but they're not because they want to keep fucking siphoning money out of my paycheck because they're fucking parasites. That's all they are. The IRS are parasites. And I fucking love, it always cracks me up when we're in church, right? And they talk about tax collectors from back in the day. Because back in the day, people used to shit on tax collectors and look down on them like they were the scum of society because they'd fuck you out of your money. And, people always make that argument. They're always like, oh, man, tax collectors back then were really fucked up. They aren't like the IRS today. Actually, you know what? The IRS are just as bad, if not fucking worse than those people. And there's just not a societal thing around saying fuck you to them. They do the same shit. They put a fucking gun to your head for part of your money so they can throw you in fucking jail if you don't pay them. It's the same fucking shit. It's extortion. It's getting butt raped by Uncle Sam. It's fucked up, man. Like fucking, yeah. That's like, I could go on and on for hours about how fucking pissed off income tax makes me. And I kind of did go on a giant tangent there. But you know what, man? Donald Trump is the only fucking president in the last fucking 50 years that has even floated that idea of fucking getting rid of the federal income tax and replacing it with something else. And if he does that, I swear I will fucking till the day I die, tout that he was the greatest president this fucking country ever saw. If he can get rid of income tax, he will go down in history as the best president ever. So he needs to get on it and abolish the income tax. If he does that, I'll gladly jerk off on video and send it to him as a gift. He can just have the video of me jerking off. He can play it for the Oval Office. He can take everybody to his private presidential screen room and say, hey, look at this guy's micro penis. Isn't it funny? If he fucking abolishes income tax, I'll do that. I keep flicking my hand this episode like I'm bitch slapping somebody. I don't know why I'm doing that. Huzzah! Huzzah! Huzzah!
Well, I would just give a nice handshake to Donald Trump if I can. That's, I think, the best I would do.
Nah, man. Donald Trump gets the best. He deserves the best from me.
I mean, I would give him a hug. That's that. I need a nice.
A hug isn't bad, but a masturbation video, I mean, it's even better.
No, I would not do that. But okay. But about income taxes doesn't help. Like, again, our tax money goes to stupid people who live off the government, and not just that. Just going to stupid things that doesn't need any funding. They're like fun, stupid shit. So.
My thing is too, it's like, man, if I got to pick what my money went to, I might be more okay with it.
Yeah.
Like if it was okay, but then again, it's like, no, I fucking wouldn't, because then that's more money that I wouldn't be able to spend how I see fit. So fuck you. Like, I don't want my fucking money going to fuck it. I started talking about some taxes are okay. Actually, I disagree with what I was about to say there. Fuck me for even thinking that. No. Fuck taxes.
Yeah.
This whole country was founded on the idea that we weren't going to pay fucking taxes to the Brits. And, fucking, that's what we need.
It's all because of people are in power. That's all. All these politicians.
That's all it is. Yeah. They found a way to fuck us.
Yeah. Yeah. Before, again, we were talking right before that. We were talking about Black Lives Matter, and then, yeah. Okay, but yeah, basically, COVID-19, an epidemic. We were forced to stay home. Became very isolated. The type of again, basically a few of the early generation had to deal with just basically being exposed to online learning, which is not really that effective. If anything, kind of takes away from the development of what those children need. Kind of makes them ruin their development. And even a lot of people, just their mental state too. Just people who are not even going to school, but just in general working or whatever. Black Lives Matter basically ruined the world. It's funny when Black Lives Matter also listen again, support innocent Black lives. I feel bad for people who obviously deal with a lot of racism. It's not right, but it really brought out the worst in people right around that time. The whole riots. And just it's crazy how people they'll support. But if anything, if you really think about it, and this is where I would say in terms of the dating or from something I can relate to, it kind of exposes okay, when it comes to black, or it kind of exposes also the whole media thing. If something involves an African American, right, the media will focus on that. They'll focus on, and they'll make that a big headline, and that's where it gets popular, where black guy gets killed, no matter if this is the fault of the guy, and they'll jump to support it, and shout Black Lives Matter and all that kind of shit, and that's what starts the whole bandwagon, or the whole idea of niche appeal, right? The whole niche, supporting someone just it's bias. Just supporting someone just because it's the color, the same color as you, you'll support that person, no matter who's guilty or not. And it basically brought out the worst of people. It really did. And
I mean, yeah, in a lot of ways, I do agree with you on that. The media will find anything it can to push the narrative that's popular or the narrative that they want you to see. I mean, that's kind of how it's been from the beginning of time. Fucking Noam Chomsky wrote a book about that. It was called Manufacturing Consent. It was about how the media will focus on particular things to make you think a specific way But it seems like Donald Trump kind of threw a grenade into that because now nobody trusts the media and they voted for him. So,
But unfortunately, the media was okay. And if you think about it, that was a ploy, and also that was a ploy by the left to be against Trump because at the time, it was election year, and everyone was like against Trump, especially the media, because of that, and shit like that. One thing I'll say about Black Lives Matter though is like it seems like again no matter what happens like everyone's gonna like support Black lives compared to like other race. Like let's be honest, let's like if anything Black Lives Matter kind of exposed that African Americans, Black people are the second most popular race and people will support it, right? uh like so I don't
it
understand how
proved
people.
that they're the second most. I mean, that makes sense. They're the
Yeah,
second most populous in the country.
yeah,
White people number one, black people number two, right under them. I mean, that's just kind of how it is.
yeah.
Also,
So it kind of didn't, but what I'm trying to say, like, it digresses. It's like, oh, people are racist to Black Africans or Americans. They're seen with such racism. Like, no, they're more favored in like in popularity. Like, okay, the reality of you getting to a college, being African American is more likely than any other race besides even white or whatever. Okay, it's you're likely to get in a college. Other despite like if you're Asian, an Asian of how imagine an Asian with the whole stereotype with Asians, they
yeah,
work
no,
so
Asians
hard.
get fucked by fucking DEI. They get absolutely fucked by DEI because they're really smart.
Yeah. And then, but like, oh, we're gonna we're gonna take in, this Black person, because, yeah, it's Black. And this is where obviously I would even go to say, like, if anything, it exposes, like, you know, I remember seeing like it's from like what was it they call Black Twitter, Black YouTube, whatever. Like the other side where it's like all like racial bias. It also exposed that, and this is where the dating side comes in. It also exposes where like people will always prefer a Black person second, besides if you're white they're gonna prefer a Black person, and they're gonna always like say uh and it's also like funny the whole meme like, oh, they're better in bed too, or they have a longer dick too, like the whole idea where get it,
I
Black
mean,
people
yeah,
are
black people having big dicks has been a stereotype for fucking
yeah.
ever.
Well, again, like what I'm trying to say, like they're more beloved. Let's just say they're more beloved. They're more viewed as cool. That's also one reason why, like, when you
No,
talk,
yeah, black people definitely start trends. That's always kind of been the case. They started rock and roll. We stole it from them. They started blues. We stole it from them. They started fashion. We stole it from them. Fucking, it's the God's honest truth. I can't fucking deny it, man.
yeah,
I guess they didn't start country music, and I love country music, so there's one thing we got. But fucking, like, when it comes to a lot of the fucking, like, shit
yeah,
in our culture that we see as cool, whether or not you see it as cool, it was started by a lot of black. I mean, rap culture is everywhere. It is
yeah,
everywhere, and it is cool. Yeah, I mean, like, black culture is very hip. It's very cool. It's very in. And that tends to bother some people, and other people are fine with it. I don't really care. My thing is there are black culture things that I like and black culture things that I dislike, and I can take
yeah,
and leave whatever the fuck I want. I love Spike Lee movies. I like Kendrick Lamar music. I like Kanye West music, even though he's kind of batshit now. Not going to deny that. I'm not a Nazi. Don't fucking think of me as a Nazi, please. I am not. But, he made some really good songs. And, you know, I'm not completely against a lot of fucking like things, or I'm not completely against like anything, any culture, any idea. But I think, like any smart person would, you take the good, you throw away the bad.
yeah,
So I would say definitely, you know,
yeah.
just
But I
be a
just like,
smart person.
yeah. Well, I'm trying to say, like, like for people like, oh, people, America's racist towards Black. Like, again, African Americans are like this are the second coolest like ethnicity in the world, right? And people love them. Women and like there's again the whole like talk like there's a sign I remember when the BLM stuff like whites are just jealous that that white women love blacks, like you know, you guys do that. You guys can say that. You can't say that, you know, if you're another race. Okay, so don't say like, you know, like we don't fucking support you guys all the way and all this type of shit. But again, this also goes back to dating. Like, if you want to talk about dating, the social market value for black men, or just black people in general, it's the second highest tier, right? They're gonna be more beloved. So
Sexual market value. Stop with that. Get that idea out of your head. Quit putting numbers on how fuckable people are. You're not a scientist. You'll never be a scientist. You're not a social fucking scientist. You're not a fucking psychologist. There's no sexual market value when based on race or based on, you know what sexual market value? If you're fucking deformed and missing a leg, that's sexual market value negative in your favor. If you're a normal looking guy, you can make yourself a fucking like normal guy who gets fucking fucked all the time. You can do that. I wouldn't recommend that, but you can do that. Fucking everybody's got, fuck it, man. If you really just want to get laid, you want to have a high sexual market value, become a goddamn gigolo, man. Go out there and just be a male prostitute if you want to fucking just get laid all the time. Everybody's got fucking sexual market value. I've seen the ugliest people get together and have the ugliest babies. Fucking, I see them all around me. Fucking, everybody can fuck. Everyone can do whatever they want with their penis. I mean, even in a situation that's not good for someone else, you can do it. You'll probably get arrested, and you probably should get arrested, but you can do horrible things to people with your cock. Fucking, so, you know, like, I guess all I'm saying is it's just like, fucking, you got to get that idea out of your head. You're not a statistician.
okay, well, I'm just talking like in general.
I get what you're saying. Black people are cooler than browns, and you're lamenting the fact that you're brown. But god damn it, you know how many people want to go to Saudi Arabia now because it's cool to go to Dubai and hang out with the fucking people over there who are selling the guns and fucking hanging out, being all fucking like, you can work with anything. You're a Pakistani. Like, you act like you're fucking Indian and you got like the fucking bobs in vagine or whatever. Like, girls don't think that when they look at you. You don't look Indian. You look Pakistani. You look like a goddamn Muslim. And Muslims are in right now. I don't know if you've seen that or not, but fucking everybody goes out of their way to defend Islam at any fucking point that they can. You
They'll
talk
do
down
that.
about that. Huh?
They'll do that, right? But then they won't date them. I'm sorry, I disagree with you. They'll claim they would, but they won't.
Yeah, they would.
Well, again,
the Muslim chicks will. They absolutely will.
Well, from what I've seen, like they're more into like, you know, why again, even my own cousins, they're dating outside their race.
Zubair, I'm gonna have to tell you this. The fact that your cousins can get girls proves me right.
Women,
they're brown.
My girl cousins.
Yeah, and your boy cousins can too, right? You told me that.
Yeah, but because they're better looking, so
that's not it. You're a good-looking guy.
I appreciate.
You are handsome. You're not deformed. It's just how you present yourself. Again, and you can get better at that, and you will get better at that. If I have to put a goddamn gun in your mouth, you're gonna get better at this.
We'll see what we can do. St. Patrick's Day is coming. I'm gonna do a bunch of day
St. Patrick's Day out on the town. I'm excited for this.
Yeah, we'll see what we can do. It's just like if only I had a camera, you know, if only I had someone to record.
No camera, but audio recording.
I'll try. You know, but yeah, that's what I'll try to do. I'll definitely go out to town, try to record some audio for Emery. It's not gonna be easy though. It's not gonna be easy.
You just turn your voice memos on and throw it in your pocket, man, and then you can upload it to Google Drive and share it with me.
All right, no problem. But well, okay, but from what I know from my own experience too, like I've been told like, oh, I'm Indian. Aren't you Indian? You know, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I would switch to a very like you should start calling. Is your middle name Syed? Right. You should go by that instead.
No, I mean I'll be telling girls like, hey, my name is Z. You know.
Don't do that. That makes you sound like you're gonna fucking try to sell them illegal DVDs.
Yeah, sometimes I say my name is Zuby, you know.
Zuby is also like that's like a cartoon character.
Whatever.
You gotta go. Like I said, Syed sounds like a fucking normal Middle Eastern Muslim type name, and I think that would do you well.
Nah, but they'll say I'm Indian because Syed could be an Indian name too. So
Nah, man.
no,
Every Syed I've
I'm
ever
a
heard of
fucking
was some
Muslim,
kind of
bro. I see fucking
terrorist.
bro. I'm Muslim. Okay, I
I
know.
know you're Muslim.
I know these things. So you can't just say like oh Indians don't are not named
I
Syed.
understand that, like fucking. But what I'm saying is, as the average white person that's heard the name Syed my whole life, it's always a Muslim that blew somebody up. It's never a fucking Indian. Like it's always some kind of weird thing happened in Pakistan. Poor Syed got fucking picked up off of the trail and thrown into Abu Ghraib, and some dog bit his fucking dick off. Like fucking, it's always some fucking Middle Eastern. Like that's Syed. Fucking like fucking Indians are like Punjit. If your name was Punjit, I'd be like, yeah, that's an Indian name. But Syed is fucking that's kind of cool, man. Sounds like you own a camel.
Okay. Um. Anyways, but yeah, I mean, I believe this. I know you don't want to believe this, or you think it's dumb, but whatever. But I do think that whole like, yeah, black people that have more sexual mark, they're more popular. That's why people would prefer them over certain other races besides white. And if anything, that was more popular for people who are more progressive, more left leaning. They'll rather date those people. They'll never want to give like a person. And also, that's when I see, man, I saw this video when the crazy thing is, again, it made, again, Black Lives Matter made people be more anti-cop, hating on cops, which is not right. I'm not saying that there's not corrupt cops out there, but again, it's absolutely shameful. You'll see people making fun of a short cop. You know what I mean? It's like, damn.
What about a tall cop?
Hmm?
No, yeah. So people make fun of a short cop, and that means that people have tall privilege.
But it's just what I'm trying to say is like, it kind of shows like their evil nature. You know what I mean?
Their evil nature?
Yeah. I'm just rambling, okay? But
their evil nature. They won't give a short guy a chance. You're 5'8".
I'm not talking about me, bro. Fuck.
One girl calls you short and you fucking act like it's a stain on your existence for the rest of your goddamn life.
I'm just
You're not fucking short.
I'm not talking about me, bro. I'm just talking about in general, like fucking men are struggling.
I can feel my brain shitting itself right now. There's a new episode of Daredevil out, and it really wants to watch it, but I'm here. Fucking.
We're just having fun there. Okay, let me just fucking say stupid shit. Anyways, okay, so that again, Black Lives Matter, that happened, made people, anti-cop and shows like, just dumb shit. You're right, all this progressive garbage. After this whole fiasco, it also led to, unfortunately, Donald Trump no longer, if anything, because it was an election year. It led to people, it may have been a political thing to happen because look what happened. Trump got out of office. They literally, put him out of office because of, he got voted more. He had more votes. And yet, if you compare the votes, again, to 2016, 2020, and even 2024, they don't add up. 2016 and 2024 are literally similar. They're similar in terms of how many people voted. So
there was definitely some fishy shit going on with the voting system during COVID. I definitely believe that. And I mean, it was, I don't know, there might be fucking fishy shit going on every other time, but like that one was for sure like, yeah, there was some fucked shit going on. But like, I don't know. I think it was actually, here's my thing. It might have been annoying at the time, but it was actually great that they did that they fucking put Joe Biden in office for 4 years, because now Trump is back with a vengeance, not giving a fuck. He's got his whole fucking crew, his posse, and they're in there kicking ass, cutting government, fucking doing everything they can to fucking make this country better. And I don't know if that's the case. I mean, Elon wants to put fucking microchips in people's heads. That's kind of fucking scary. Yeah. I don't want to live in Skynet. And, but for the most part, what I can tell, man, from what I've seen, Donald Trump is doing good by this country. I think that him getting shot in the head probably fucking helped that a lot.
That moment helped him won the election.
Oh yeah, that image of him, like, love him or hate him, the image of him with blood going down his face and his fist in the air, one of the fucking coolest pictures in political history.
Yeah, absolutely.
Next, you're gonna start doing the Elon thing.
Oh, I'm not doing. Fuck. Okay, I'm not a big Elon guy. I'm not gonna lie to you. All right, I'm
he
not
uh
saying.
he does things that I like. He does things that I dislike. I don't completely trust him,
Yeah,
but I
I
I
don't
do
trust
like some
AI
things about
shit.
him, and I think it's funny how autistic he is.
I mean, I think the only thing that I kind of liked about him was just like when he was on Joe Rogan and just him enjoying a pizza. It was like,
Okay.
yeah, I thought that was cool. I don't know. But yeah, other than that, okay, well, no, but going back to, yeah, but I do think again that it really fucked up the world's, Trump getting out of office. It really did. It was a ploy, and then look what happened. We're dealing with such, and for people to say, "Oh, the president doesn't influence the prices," uh, actually they do. They
They
do.
can, depending on the policy that they're pushing.
Yeah. And if anything, if for people saying, "Oh, well, how come they're not decreasing the prices right now?" Well, that's because of fucking Biden. Biden literally influenced the prices
Now,
going.
I don't know what the point of that is. I don't know exactly everything about economics, what Trump is doing to make eggs cost more or less. I have no fucking idea. I just know that less government better. And so,
Yeah.
seal of approval.
But what he has done so far, for example, like with immigration and also the sign the act of, of people who kill and an illegal immigrant. Again, that whole case inspired by it was named after the person who unfortunately got killed by illegal immigrant. That lady, uh,
Lincoln Riley?
yeah, Macon Riley Act, right? That I like that. That's a thing. Adding that as a policy, that really stopping transgender sports from happening. Transgenders athletes in sports. That's a good thing. Um, what else? Yeah, just
Firing government employees who can't
yeah.
tell you
Oh
the
yeah,
five things they did last
DEI,
week.
the DAI Act, like abolishing. That's really helpful. Actually, just you don't get hired just because of your skin color or your race or ethnicity and fucking sexual orientation garbage. You're getting hired because you are the best at what you are. Okay. Um, it's so far those are like yeah. Again, his policies are not bad. They're really helpful, and I feel like again the country is safer. With him, and plus, it's just a darn shame that like what I like what's helping New York. He's ending congestion pricings, but
Hell yeah.
the sad thing is these fucking Democrats, they're okay paying more. They're okay for like, how dare Trump does that? I want us walking the street happily and go lucky. Like, what the fuck is wrong, you pansy fucks? You guys actually want to pay for congestion pricings, or you want the people to pay money for congestion pricing?
Well,
You guys,
yeah, because it's a fucking racket, man. They get money off of that.
no, but it's like you have these dumb New Yorkers who are Democrats. They want congestion price to be a thing still. You
Oh
know,
yeah, well they believe that it'll be good for like whatever, you know. If you
traffic
have to pay
bullshit.
more to go through that, then it'll stop congestion, and then the money can go to the government, and then the government will use that money for good purposes, like giving people fucking, like giving illegal immigrants fucking hotel rooms and all sorts of great shit that our money's going to, you know.
But it's like, again, it's bullshit. It's like,
It is. It is. This is run like shit. It's like we're running our government on Windows 95, and we're over here with Windows 10.
congestion pricing does not solve traffic. By the way, if anything, it does not automatically decrease the traffic. Because again, New York is still the most popular state in the world, in America especially. Okay, you're gonna have a lot of people coming in trying to deliver goods, and if anything, that leads to New York being again the number one state still where you have to spend a lot of money on goods. If anything, congestion pricing in literally increases your it increases the egg prices, it increases the distribution of goods, like your grocery prices increasing. It's not just Trump, it's freaking again New York. It's because of the whole congestion pricing makes the prices of goods go up. So
Fuck.
for all you people that want to like say you want cheap goods and you live in New York, it's not Trump's fault. It's fucking congestion pricing fault, and that's because of Kathy Hochul and all these dumb Democrats that run the fucking state. Did you hear
Fair.
that? Did you hear freaking Andrew Cuomo was running for mayor in New York?
No, I don't know anything about him.
Oh, he was a fucking stupid guy who was always on TV during the pandemic, informing New York people, New Yorkers too. But yeah, and he got exposed for being a creep.
Oh no. Hate when that happens.
Yeah, remember Trap Queen? Like her father actually knew him, or he actually and he actually forced his girlfriend at the time to get an abortion.
No, because I don't remember this at all. Who this guy is at all? Like this is not ringing any bells. I hope he doesn't win though. Sounds like a pretty bad guy.
Yeah, his freaking brother's Chris Cuomo.
I've heard of Chris Cuomo.
Yeah. That entire family's fucking shit. But anyways, but yeah, we're kind of going at modern sense, but yeah, that's what influenced. I guess it since COVID. I mean, sure, things have gotten better, right? In terms of we got a real president back. It made people reflect that Trump is not that bad and all that kind of stuff, right? But again, the country did got worse since the pandemic, or it just. Well, I'm trying to say COVID-19. It was obviously shit time. People becoming more isolated. People having to switch to doing remotely. Remotely work, remotely classes, being more isolated. You couldn't even enjoy, going outside, forced to wear masks. Which again, I will. So here's what my thoughts of this whole. It's all political theater. The whole mask shit does not protect you. If anything, it makes you get the virus. It does. And again, you're getting a sore throat. If anything, that makes you more likely to get sick. I am anti-mask. I'm not gonna deny that. I am anti-mask because again, that gets you fucking sick. That was fucking retarded. And then again, it's also retarded. Wear a mask. As long as you're wearing a mask. But you're not socially distancing. Even though I hate the fucking term social distance, that matters more than fucking wearing a shitty mask.
Right.
But people weren't doing that. Oh, but you gotta wear masks. It's all dumb. During that time, obviously that led to the increase of rise of TikTok. That lead to, if anything, this is where how the whole constitutes with dating. If anything, the pandemic it increased the whole idea of online dating, and just people meet, and it just also kind of makes it made human interaction less valuable, I would say, because people would rather just with the dating apps, especially during that time, and not just that, it's just people less sociable, it just as humans.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Don't really have a whole lot to add on that. Online dating, it's got its good things, it's got its bad things. COVID was really bad. I think that the government is bad. I'm happy that Donald Trump is in office. That's really all I really had to say about that this episode. I think it's been a good time. I need to watch an episode of Daredevil. My fucking balls are going to fall off if I don't watch this episode of Daredevil. So I'm going to have to leave. I'm going to have to go watch this. But everybody, my advice, don't get COVID. Don't kill yourself. And vote red.
I go watch Daredevil. All right, let me just sum up what I want to say. And thank you, Emma, for joining. My thoughts on COVID. I guess you could, if you want to hear his ramble, this is the video. With COVID-19, obviously a terrible time. And if you want to know how it affected the dating sense, again, online dating, people basically not really being, I mean, it's not our fault. People not willing to really meet each other or get to know each other, and if anything, it influenced our way of interaction, where people are more antisocial, people more choosy. It's just like it was like that, and also like that's where like the rise of like people hitting up on the DMing Instagrams, and the rise of Tinder and all these dating apps, stuff like that. They're rather, and if anything, like that's what also led to like people less likely to like wanting to cold approach or meeting people in person, because everyone's so scared and as antisocial, especially right after when the pandemic was kind of over, or just not just over, but like when things were slowing down, where and like 2021, when classes were getting back in person or whatever. There was like more so like being antisocial, people being antisocial. If like, especially from my experience, cold approaching. When I was cold approaching again back when I was going back to college, people were like antisocial. It was also not easy when people were wearing masks and shit like that. People will also use like, instead of like shaking your hand or trying to talk, like, oh, COVID, mask and all that. Obviously, it's a way to like, hey, take the hint that you're not interested, which is obviously it's all understandable. But it's like it was definitely hard, meeting people during this time. Um, and just in general, just life was just hard in general. Price, you had to deal with the prices increasing, and just trying to just like going back to like living a normal life, or just living life in general. But you have to be forced to wear a mask and all this shit and full social distance. It was fucking ridiculous. It was all political theater. Well, thankfully, we got back to being our normal lives. I would say 2022 is when we finally got back to being more so normal, except certain places where like we had to wear masks still, like in hospitals. And you know I remember 2022 was the first year I had called for jury duty, and I was like forced to wear a mask. And if I had my mask on open for a little bit, way a little lower of my nose, I was like the person got angry. It's like it's a little. I'm like separated. I'm trying to fucking breathe for fuck's sake, or trying to just take a sip of water when I had at the time. It's fucking ridiculous. Um, but yeah, that happened, and but that thankfully, I would say 2023, we finally got back to normal, being our normal selves. We don't need to worry about carrying a vaccine card, wearing a mask and shit like social distance. COVID basically became like the outdated thing to talk about. I will say with the vaccine though, since the vaccine, I was forced to get the vaccine in 2021 because of college. I will say my immune system has not been the same. I used to feel like I have a strong immune system. I think the government definitely ruined ourselves with that vaccine. That's for sure. Um, yeah, that's I would say definitely was not a fun time. I'm just glad that COVID is over. Sadly, COVID is still a thing, but it doesn't mean that we're not gonna be isolated or whatever. So that's a good thing. Um, it definitely was political theater. Definitely felt like using as an advantage. It's not. I'm not saying it's not real, but it's just definitely ruined our world. But as far as dating, in my experience, I remember COVID. During the time COVID, I was talking to some chicks, right before COVID, the pandemic started, and we are forced to switch online learning. I was talking to the chicks. I was cold approaching. I had a few chicks in my class. And there was, I was on. And my cousin said, "Hey man, you gotta get a girlfriend," you know. And I do think that was the case. Like where like I could have gotten a girlfriend if COVID didn't happen, or I would have like at the time gone on dates. Unfortunately, COVID happened, and people use that as an excuse. Sure, if a girl really liked you, she'll keep in touch with you, right? Yeah, or she'll find a way to get to be with you. But again, it was hard at the time because it was a pandemic, so it's not easy. Especially if a girl like let's say she was only like there around the time of the semester, but then she had to be forced to move back to her regular home, whatever. Like shit, like maybe like out of the state. It's not easy, but then they'll move on and go through their separate lives. Like maybe they found someone in their area to be with. Like that's what it is, you know. So personally, I do think like COVID kind of fucked up a lot of plans. It ruined like everyone's plans, birthdays and you know, weddings and special occasions. It definitely ruined my chances of getting girls. It ruined my 21st birthday at the time. It ruined um, basic interaction, enjoying life. I definitely felt isolated. I definitely felt like, times of lonely. It was not easy. It was ridiculous. But what kept me sane was guys like Emery and even my good buddy wrestling chats, including the right Smart Buster and that those people, Trap Queen, um, basically like our friend circle group. We kept each other alive, and that's the beautiful thing about the hangout chat, and that's the beautiful thing about COVID during that time. While everyone's dealing cabin fever, everyone was like dealing with like how shit this pandemic is and how this is a fucking bullshit life. We had each other to talk on the group chat, which was amazing. I remember also that at the time it was like fun, talking to people on Omegles, doing some fun Skype calls and going on Omegles for funs. It was fun, But other than that, obviously, it was better just getting out, about. I will say what influenced with my life after COVID. It made a motivation to cold approach more girls, actually wanting to meet new people, and yeah, get outside more and travel. Like before COVID, I was less likely to really go out in a time. I mean, not that like I was not even old enough yet, because again, I was not 21 yet to like go to bars and nightclubs or whatever, But it made it more of a advantage, or it gave me the idea where I gotta go to places and I can't be waiting the last minute and I can't be waiting for people. It made a motivation for myself where I gotta go to places, and if it includes myself, I'll do it because life is too short. You never know what's gonna happen. Made a motivation to do things. Like for example, I didn't go to my first wrestling show until literally after COVID, and when I finally did, it was fun, and I finally did it. Um, Same thing with other places, other things for fun. I can't just wait for people. You gotta live for yourself also, and do things for you, and you know make things work. So that's something like I will say that's why I learned from COVID, and what kind of influenced me to do after COVID. It's being my best self, and also like doing things to prosper in my life. I became more a social butterfly, I would say, after COVID. Also, definitely, COVID introduced me, to obviously better my body. Rahel talks about like my use of pro hormones with steel supplements, which thanks to them, obviously that's something that advantage with COVID. Like but again, at the time, like I was kind of angry myself because I got no surgery and I lost some of my muscle that I even had like my naturally, and I was kind of worried. I want to get big fast as possible and press some chicks and whatever. Obviously, that's something I learned from COVID. Like to get bigger, muscular, whatever. Not even though sadly I learned that sadly muscles don't really always help you get the girls. It was just all a lie from the fitness community. But in the end of the day, it's good to have muscle, and it's also good for like if you're trying to be an athlete. So, um, but yeah, other than that, man, COVID was definitely pathetic, garbage time. It's definitely way upon us, gone. It just sucked that a lot of things that happened during the time sucked. COVID, like again, the pandemic, people were dying, people were getting sick. Um, Not a nice time. Being isolated. Um, Basically made people more antisocial. It ruined my family plans where because of COVID, people people less likely to get the family gatherings, people less likely to enjoy life together, people more isolated, wanting to be home more, or just being isolated. And also people thinking it's easy to hey, I don't mind having a pandemic. I'm not a social butterfly anyways. That's basically how like the mentality of people at times now. Um, it was also tough because at that time, literally right after the new year 2021, I lost my great uncle. It was not easy, and that definitely like was not nice. It's not because of COVID, but it just life was not good or the same since. Um, but yeah, man. Sure, life did get better. I would say during 2022, 2023, life basically more so was like more so of the normal, of going back to normal of how life pre-COVID was. But the damage has been done. Let's just say, while life is back to how it was, it's not the same. It's like we're in a little dimension where sure life is back to what it is, but the effects of COVID-19, where the lockdown issue kind of affected our life, where people are less sociable, more antisocial, dating as a whole, where people are more choosy, having higher standards, and life revolving the internet has increased. Um, Jobs changed for the worse, where like people like again, we're gonna be replaced by AI. Remote work has changed the world. Which is not a problem of working at home. I think it's just, again, the problem is that it's uh, now, like, obviously it's just not the same. Like, the whole idea of interaction is not the same. You know, um, I do think, like, just at least I would say I'm confident would say, like, at least in terms of life, like, it's good to know that we could live life up at least a little different, better. Um, it's just obviously things have changed because of COVID. Like, certain things that were adapted, like, online pay, like basically paying, you know, basically businesses, they adapted a way of paying, with card instead of cash. Uh, Things have changed, like where people things are more electronical. Things are like we're gonna be replaced by electronics, and that started because of COVID. You know, AI is gonna have be more of a construct, unfortunately. Um, yeah, and again, us as humans, we're suffering, and that all started during COVID. But at the end of the day, all we can what I know is that the most perfect, the most the most flawed machine, the most perfect machine cannot outlive a human. Okay, even a human with little flaws could outdo the most perfect machine, because not all because there is always going to be a flaw. And us as humans, we have the beauty of courage, and just not just that. Like, I'm trying to sound a little intellectual, but like, let's just say this: like, if you watch Power Rangers RPM, and I know this is going to sound a little nerdy, you saw what Dr. K said in one of the final episodes, about like when Rancic was taking over the world, right? That even the most not perfect human could outdo the most perfect machine. You it could be done, because us as humans could do anything. We could do anything. We have a brain, okay? We have a brain. We have the capability to learn and do things. Machines, all they could do is, again, like computers. They could only search up whatever. Sure, we're going to probably be evolving to robots, but they're not going to have feelings. They're not going to have like what we have, which is natural. And us as humans, we're natural people, and we can do anything. So while COVID-19 was a step back of humanity and made humanity worse, like when we were complaining about certain things of life, and it was a kind of reminder that, yeah, we should appreciate what we have. And that's something I would say I learned from COVID-19, appreciating more of what we had. And it made me look back, like, 2019 was not a bad year for me personally, or whatever, judging things harshly at the time. But, it made you appreciate life, and, things that you got worked on. You can't like sit around and wait for Superman. You got to do things yourself. And that's something I would say. And that's also what influenced me of trying to get better in terms of dating. Well, still today I'm struggling. I'm not gonna act like I'm most perfect. But everybody's struggling. Everybody's struggling in dating, men and women, especially men, though, I will say. But at the end of the day, we're still human. Life is more than just about dating. In the end of the day, it's also about just living life to the fullest and doing the best you can. And that's something I will say about, like, life is like enjoying any moment you can and do the best you can. So that's something I will say, like, from in terms of 5 years later. While I hate COVID, I still thank for what, that little time of influencing and making me realize of things with life. And that's, can't wait for Superman to change anything. You got to change things yourself. So, which is what I'm trying to do every day, and also trying to do with this show with Emery. So overall, that's a little bit, like, obviously, yeah. Also, all we have to really say, COVID-19 sucked, but hey, and the pandemic sucked. That time was sucked, but it's upon us now, and now we can just look back at it. It's just crazy. We lived through history. We lived through history. The times of the Great Depression and all that kind of shit. We're part of history. It just I'm not saying it was the Great Depression necessarily. COVID-19, but it definitely was the modern Great Depression where like obviously the economy was dealing with shit. We didn't have like enough toilet papers and Lysol sprays and all that. But we were struggling. We are like of human interaction and obviously a little issue with our economy. But we had to strive through of garbage. We had to do the best we can because we had to live, right? We had to live, but it didn't help that not saying again, COVID is a real disease, but unfortunately, it was taken advantage to ruin our lives. So, but we can't let that happen again. I think that if anything, we are now smarter now. We won't let that happen. We can't let the government ruin our lives ever. We're not gonna give it to this whole Dr. Fauci shit and all these people who wanted to ruin our world and say like be scared, like all this fear mongering shit. We're not gonna let be scared anymore. We're not gonna let this fear mongering shit ruin our life. They're gonna fight us. But yeah, that's COVID-19. The 5 years later, that's how the pandemic influenced our lives, and that's my little story. Thank you, Emma, for joining. And yeah, till next time. Peace. Yeah, bye. All around the world. All you need is love. Take that home, folks. And we survived the pandemic. That's a good thing. Shit era though. So we have some issues since then, but it doesn't mean that we can't, we're not prospering when we can, despite, of little issues we have. I know I'm rambling, but in the end of the day, COVID-19 has come and gone. While the damage has been done, doesn't mean it will influence and completely stop us. There are still some disadvantages since then that ruined our world, but we won't let it change us. We're gonna learn from it and do the best we can with the issue. So yeah, that's COVID-19 talk. Till next time, peace. Yeah, bye.